Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Danielle Samek, and I'm the interim travel study manager. And welcome to our session that's called Off the Beaten Path. So today we're going to give you some information about non-traditional program options. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague Maureen.
Hello, thank you for joining us today. You are currently in listen-only mode. You should now be able to hear me. We have muted all participant audio connections to limit background noise. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please use the Q&A tool to type questions as you have them. We will get to questions in order at the end of the webinar. And this webinar will be recorded and available with captioning within a few days on our UCLA Study Abroad YouTube channel. Again, welcome. So my name is Maureen Atala, and I will be co-leading this webinar with Danielle Samek, as she mentioned, from the UCLA International Education Office. We are a one-stop shop for anything study abroad and for undergraduate study abroad opportunities. At our office, you can consult with our study abroad advisors, coordinators, and we can connect you with peers who have studied abroad themselves before. Couple things we're going to go over today is we just did the welcome. We're going to go over some COVID-19 things, study abroad one-on-one highlights, why consider programs off the beaten path. We'll go over some sample programs, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So study abroad and COVID-19. Currently, we are scheduled to run summer 2021 programs. We are continuously monitoring safety abroad. The UCLA Study Abroad Office, together with its partners like UCEAP, are monitoring world events and continuously assessing the safety of our programs for our students and faculty abroad. We will update you should things change, but currently we are scheduled to run for summer 2021. We will be considerate of student timelines, and we have limited double enrollments for UCEAP. Students enrolling in UCEAP programs during the academic year can maintain their UCLA enrollments for the term they plan to study abroad and for an extended period. Our coordinators are also developing virtual alternatives should in-person fall through for UCLA's faculty-led programs. During this time, we ask for your flexibility and patience. We are working in an ever-changing environment, so more than ever, students who desire to study abroad in the near future will need to be flexible, as some factors can be outside our control and may change unexpectedly. Something that we do want to mention to you is to please renew or apply for your passport now. We know the U.S. Department of State has an extensive backlog of passport applications currently, and it's currently taking longer than the usual 6 to 8 week processing window. So please apply or renew as soon as possible. Okay, some study abroad one-on-one highlights. So UCLA students can experience a spectrum of study abroad opportunities. There's no one type of study abroad. We have the traditional university immersion, where students can study at a local university with local students and other UC peers. We have UCLA faculty-led programs. These are programs that are 3 to 5 weeks long in the summer with a UCLA professor, and students can take 2 to 3 classes in a more experiential learning environment than anything a lecture at UCLA can offer. These are open to all majors, even if not designed for a specific major. And we have intern and research abroad opportunities. These are our new models of studying abroad, where students can intern for academic credit and make progress towards their degree. We also have cohort opportunities where students can take courses with a cohort of local students abroad, and that entire cohort then returns for UCLA summer sessions. This is called UCLA Global Cities. So financial aid. Can students use financial aid for study abroad programs. Yes, eligible students can use financial aid to cover the cost of UC affiliated study abroad programs. We have a mix of grants, loans, and scholarships. Please see the scholarships and financial aid videos on our UCLA Study Abroad YouTube channel. And also take a look on our website where we have an extensive list of scholarships that you can apply for. When to apply. For UCEAP programs, as early as 9 months before start of the program, and they vary by program. So please go ahead and check our website at ieo.ucla.edu. Currently, we have UCLA Travel Study open, UCLA Global Cities, UCLA Global Internships, and UCEAP Summer Fall and 2021 programs. Where you can learn more, please go ahead and watch the Study Abroad 101 session from our Global Learning Opportunities Week through the on-demand section. Go ahead and go to ieo.ucla.edu/glow/on-demand sessions, where we have an extensive list of videos from financial aid and to different program opportunities as well.
Okay, thank you, Maureen. This is Danielle again, and I'm going to take over. So why should you consider programs that are considered to be off the beaten path? I would definitely recommend that you consider where you may never get the opportunity to travel again when you're reviewing your study abroad opportunities. You have the chance as a student not just to study abroad and continue making academic progress, but to possibly go to a place with local experts and support where you may not want to ever travel again, or you may not have the opportunity to travel again. So we often in our office say go as far away as you can for as long away as you can. Consider unique program types. So if there's something really niche about your specific field or a way for you to set yourself apart, maybe you're an education major and you're hoping to teach high school Spanish, you may want to go spend a summer in Mexico so that you have more fluency and you have real world examples to bring back to your students. So definitely consider how you can challenge yourself. Study abroad is definitely a challenge, even if you're able to just go to someplace, English speaking, but we encourage you to think about that and try to set yourself up for success in the future, even, thinking of your career. There's also a lot of places you can go where you can learn a critical language. That can also be really helpful for your future. Even if you're a STEM student, you might find that if you're wanting to work with maybe as a doctor or a nurse, maybe you want to pick up some other languages so that you can, be able to work with a wider range of patients. So definitely think about the whole range of your opportunities. Find something maybe that is a little unique, and you'll have a really great experience doing that. So studying abroad outside of your major is another way to sort of diversify your experience and kind of give yourself a unique take that maybe others in your same field might not be doing. So students are definitely not required to study abroad in their major. If there are GEs, minor credits, maybe you want to pick up a foreign language, or like I said, maybe you're thinking pre-med and you want to go somewhere that is more career focused rather than applying to your direct major at UCLA, you can still do that. We always encourage you to try to make academic progress where possible, but if that might be that you just need hours towards graduation, that's okay. That's still a valid reason to choose a program. So starting with a major program is a good way to look at it, but you're not required to do that. So definitely don't pigeonhole yourself. Look at all the different possibilities that are available. I'm going to go through some sample programs from a couple of our different opportunities. I'm going to start with the UCLA Travel Study programs. These are 3 to 5 week summer programs where a faculty director goes with you and teaches your courses and also serves basically as your on-site guide and gives you a lot of support throughout the program. One of the really interesting ones we have is the East-West Medicine program through Shanghai, China. It's a summer 4-week program, and you have the option to either earn global health credit or you can earn med credit to put that on your transcript as an undergrad. So the focus of it is really to learn about Eastern medicine practices in China, and you develop a self-care plan for yourself, even using these traditional techniques. So even if you're not necessarily thinking of a health profession in the future, it's still a personally beneficial program. You'll get to pick up things like Tai Chi or watch how acupuncture is performed. And you get to go to a lot of different hospitals, clinics, and major sites in and around Shanghai. So definitely a program that has a different focus and it does work really well for students who are doing the global health minor as well. So even if you're not a minor, you might decide after doing the program you want to add it in the future. Another option that we're going to actually have a returnee video about in a few minutes here. The Spanish in the Mexican Context program in Merida is another 4-week option. For this one, you actually choose your courses from 3 different language tracks. So there are prerequisites for each level that you have to have completed the lower level before you participate. But you can do Spanish 2A and 3A to satisfy the foreign language requirement in Merida. Or if you're a more advanced student, you can do some upper division credit towards a major or minor. And this program does work at the advanced track for those if you do decide you want a major or minor. This one's a really interesting opportunity just because it goes to a part of Mexico where maybe students have gone in the past for vacation or they haven't really considered it. But because it's close, it's also a little bit more cost effective if you are on a tighter budget. So definitely an interesting way to still experience Spanish language. There's definitely lots of program options besides just Spain, which is typically one of our more popular destinations. Another option that is really interesting this year is the Ancient Technology, Materials, and Forensics program that goes to Cyprus. This one is housed in engineering, but it is open to students who aren't engineering majors or minors. So there's 2 different courses, one of which works for your GE credit, Foundations of Scientific Inquiry with a lab. So that's a really cool option if you're wanting to maybe get your physical science coursework completed, but you're not a science major, you want to do it in a really unique way. This could be an awesome way for you to fulfill that. If you are in engineering, it also could work potentially for technical breadth by petition, and Mat Sci majors, it does work for major electives. This program will definitely have a lot of hands-on field-based experiences. You'll be doing some research directly with the faculty, lots of really independent projects, so you get to tailor it to your interests. But it's definitely a unique location and a really beautiful island to visit. A new option this year we have is the Wellington, New Zealand program. So although, thinking about Australia, New Zealand, it is winter, it's a really cool time to go because you'll have, the down period, fewer tourists, you'll get to experience a different look at New Zealand than you might during other parts of the year. This one is a 4-week program as well, and it has social science upper division credit attached to it. So it's really focusing on looking at colonialism and how New Zealand has moved into a neoliberalism model. So lots of focus on social science methods, methodology that might be helpful if you're thinking you might want to do like a dissertation or a senior thesis or something in the future. You'll learn a lot about doing field research through this program. So it can be useful even if you aren't fulfilling a specific major or minor credit. Another new program, which is actually proving to be fairly popular. We only have about half the spaces available currently. That's the Global Studies option in The Hague. So this program is in the Netherlands for 4 weeks. It works for global studies students, so it fulfills 2 required courses that those majors are required to do. It will have hopefully a weekend excursion to Brussels, and you're visiting lots of different government or NGO type institutions. So you'll get to go to the EU, UNHCR, you'll get to do a lot of visits to the courts that are based in The Hague. So a really, really unique opportunity to look at human rights and see how it's handled and how cases are tried, things like that, through this program in The Hague. I'm going to switch hats and speak a little bit about some of our UCEAP programs that students can do as well through UCLA. See, these programs tend to have more opportunities at different durations. So where travel study is summer, these programs can be, summer all the way through a full academic year. One really interesting program is at HKUST in Hong Kong. So this is a really prestigious university, similar to Harvard. It's possibly in I think the top 3, top 5 universities in Asia. And the campus is in a really gorgeous location. You can see the pictures there of the water. So similar, to being on the California coast, but you're in another location all the way across the globe. So this program has coursework in English, and it's really easy to get around the city because English is widely spoken, and you can take classes with other international students. There's a few different disciplines that are noted here, and these are the departments where HKUST really excels. So I would encourage you to take a look at that option if you're looking for a really big cosmopolitan city, lots of interesting access to other parts of the world too. Another program that's a unique model is the Human Rights and Cultural Memory Program that goes to Argentina and Chile. So this program actually has you traveling to both countries, and you're based at 2 different campuses. It's a fall semester long program from August to December. But it has a lot of different opportunities for students who are focusing on human rights, poverty, development, to have a hands-on look at that and how things have been handled, and the aftermath of some interesting cultural issues and problems that happened in Argentina and Chile. So it includes a lot of different cultural activities. Courses are still taught in English, and you get to network with political and human rights organizations in both of these countries across one program. Another option, and we have a returnee here today to speak a little bit more about it, is the Soul Summer Program. This one is also taught in English, and there's several different disciplines here that coursework is available. So it's a good opportunity if you're looking for things that are similar to like GE credits back on at UCLA's campus. They also have interesting ways to kind of diversify your experience. So you could add in volunteer teaching if you wanted to, or you could apply for one of the internship options. They are limited and fairly competitive, but it's another way to build in an internship into your experience. So there's IT, business, marketing, public relations types internships through this program option. Seoul is a really beautiful city as well. It's a very interesting place to go, and I'll save some of the details on that one for our returnee Montana in a few moments. Another really interesting longer duration program is through Hebrew University in Jerusalem. This program we wanted to highlight because it has lots of different unique disciplines that you can study, and it's a really interesting part of the world to travel to. There are also considerable funding opportunities available. If you're interested in this one, I would definitely recommend you contact the UCLA Nazarian Center. They have lots of scholarships that could approach or even completely cover your costs of doing the program. So for students who are open-minded and want to look at the Middle East, this is a really interesting place to do that from. And again, lots of funding opportunities available here. So although we highlighted a handful of program options here, keep in mind that there's 100+ programs, 40 different locations throughout UCEAP that would fall off the beaten path. So definitely start casting your net wide, look at all of these different options and see maybe there's some opportunity out there you weren't aware of, and it's completely different direction than maybe what you'd been considering in the past. So it's good to start early and start your planning process, even if you're not thinking you'll go for another couple of years. Okay, so now I'm going to play part of a video here, play the beginning and then skip forward a little bit. So Andrea Zing is a UCLA Travel Study Program Ambassador. She did the Spanish Merida program for the summer in 2019, which is one of the ones we showed you earlier.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea and I am a 4th year physiological science major with a Spanish minor, and I did the summer study abroad program in Merida in the summer of 2019. So I'm going to start off with talking a little bit about why I chose the program. So starting in my sophomore year of college, I realized that I was interested in both pursuing a Spanish minor as well as getting the chance to study abroad. So these two things kind of intersected nicely in a decision for me to be able to study abroad in a Spanish-speaking country. So I was originally looking at the programs in Spain for my upper division Spanish units, but after going to an info session that was talking about different programs available in Spanish-speaking countries, I was really drawn to the Merida program. So the big draw for me for this program was the homestay aspect.
I'm going to pause here just to add a note that for summer 2021, Andrea actually didn't know, but we had to move away from the host family model for a year. So if you're considering this program in the future, it will be back. We can share the full video if you want to hear those comments about the homestays, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to skip us forward a little bit here.
Have a nice day at school. So that was a really amazing part as well. And then kind of looking at the academic side of the program, it was such a unique learning experience and something that you wouldn't be able to get on UCLA campus, because we get the ability to go out onto excursions where we'd be going to places we talked about in class. So for example, we'd be talking about Chichen Itza, and then at the end of the week, we would literally be at Chichen Itza learning about all the different things that we talked about in class. And this is just something that isn't possible on UCLA campus, and something that really just made this entire experience so amazing, and something I definitely won't forget. So for this last part, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I gained from this experience. So something that I definitely was hoping to get out of the program was a chance to improve my Spanish speaking ability. As I said before, I'm nowhere near fluent, but it is something that I definitely am interested in improving upon. And it's definitely something that I feel like I gained through this program. So getting a chance to use the Spanish language on a daily basis outside of just an academic setting was a really great opportunity for my confidence in speaking the language to be able to grow exponentially. So I pretty much learned that if you're not constantly practicing, constantly putting yourself out there, you can't really read notes or read textbooks and have the same effect happen as if you were just kind of trying out the language and not being afraid to make any mistakes. So this is something that I definitely was able to do a lot throughout this program, just from speaking to different people in the community. And then my host mom, again, helps so much with this. And then something else that I got was the chance to visit some amazing, amazing places. So this included like Tulum, Ismail, different places like that. And it really just was a great mix of being able to learn and to sightsee, and then to even learn while you're sightseeing. So I would definitely recommend that people study abroad during their time in college, whether it be for fulfilling a major, fulfilling minor requirements, doing GEs, or even just for fun, because it was such an amazing experience that I had, and that I had the opportunity to do so. So thank you for listening to my little spiel. Feel free to reach out to the International Education Office if you have any questions about studying abroad.
Okay, we're going to continue on here. Oops. So I'm sure it skipped a few. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to open up to Montana to add in some comments before we hit some questions here.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Montana. I use she, her pronouns. I graduated from UCLA in 2019, which feels like so long ago, but it really wasn't. And I did a travel study program during my time at UCLA, and I also did a UCEAP program. And so I've gotten a wide range of experience with study abroad programs through UCLA, and I'm a huge advocate for summer programs because I typically would take summer classes at UCLA, or I would go home and be bored and not know what to do with my time. And in the time that I took courses abroad, I was actually getting credit for my major. And I also just learned a lot about who I was as an individual. As some of the folks at the IEO know, I was pre-med going into my first study abroad program when I went to Spain. And I really just didn't know what I wanted to do with my major, with my career. And in doing the program abroad, I learned of my passion for history and learning the culture of the places that I was visiting. So I came back to UCLA and I changed my major to history. And I simultaneously started working at the IEO as a peer advisor and absolutely loved it. Went abroad again on a UCEAP program. I went to Yonsei for the summer. And I really just want to echo what has already been said about, being immersed in the culture and getting to experience things that you'll probably never get to experience otherwise. And also just getting to experience things that most people don't experience in their lifetime. I mean, I was literally one of the excursions we went on. I was at the border of North and South Korea, learning about the history between the division of the two countries, and learning about the things that we had practiced in class and read about in class. And so just getting to experience that firsthand was unimaginable. And I can't even fathom getting to experience something like that in a classroom. Like, it's just, you don't get that kind of experience in a lecture hall. And so through those experiences, I came back, had my job as a peer advisor at the study abroad office, and learned that I love talking to students about study abroad. I loved learning about the culture and the history of the places that I was visiting. And through that experience, actually found my passion for higher education and student affairs. So ultimately, something that I'm also a really big advocate for is going into these programs open-minded, open to new experiences, and learning just things about yourself and about other people. Because ultimately, not only did I just study abroad for my major and to get credit to graduate, But I found what I'm passionate about, and I found, a new direction, a new career path that I never would have thought of otherwise. And so I really do owe a lot of what I have right now, what I'm working toward, to my experience studying abroad. And yeah, it's really just, you can't put a price on it. And I know that financial aid was a big thing for me, and finances in general were just, funding the programs. And I do just want to ease any of your worries by saying that, even if you do have to take out a loan for study abroad, it's going to be the best loan you ever take out. But there are scholarships out there. The IEO is a great resource for you to learn about different resources or scholarships that are out there that can apply to your programs. I'm also a resource for you. If you ever have questions, feel free to reach out. But yeah, I just can always speak so highly of study abroad, and I think everybody should get the opportunity to do it. Yeah, I will stop there.
Thank you, Montana. That's great. Okay, I'm going to turn on my video here, and then Maureen's going to give us whatever questions came in, and Montana and I can answer those for you.
Great. Our first question on here is, are all study abroad programs covered by financial aid?
So if you're a UCLA student and you're doing UCEAP, travel study, global cities, any of those programs, yes, financial aid can be used. For summer, you do have to fill out some additional forms. There's a summer financial aid process that you will go through in travel study, and the other summer programs will help walk you through that. But otherwise, if you're eligible to receive aid through UCLA normally, then if you follow all the proper steps, then you would be able to use your financial aid towards your travel study or your UCEAP program.
Great. Next question is for Montana. You're inspirational. Did you have any safety concerns as a female student abroad?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did not, if I'm being honest. I felt extremely safe, and I think a lot of that was because, and I'm not saying this because of my experience working for them, but because the IEO set up so much for us ahead of time. And on my program with UCEAP as well, as you noticed, it's a little different from the travel study programs through UCLA, but the staff at the study abroad office really helped set everything up for us before we left. So when we got there, everything was already set up. We didn't have to worry about transportation, about our hotels or wherever our accommodations where we were staying. And then just anything that was going on while we were there. And then similar with UCEAP, we had staff on site that were always available, always on our excursions with us. And I think that just really helped boost my confidence and build up my confidence when traveling, and ultimately help me travel after, because I've done a lot of traveling on my own after my programs as well. And I think just doing my own research and being responsible and talking with other people about their experiences really kind of helped set me up for success when I was abroad.
Thank you. And another question for you is, do you have any regrets about not being on campus?
I'm going to feel free to clarify, but I'm going to assume that you mean by like the travel city programs and having courses. My travel city program, Yonsei, I was on campus. I was taking courses on campus, and that was phenomenal. It was great. It's a beautiful campus. My travel city program, I was not on a campus. I was doing coursework actually in our hotel, which was very unique and such an amazing experience. Because we would wake up in the morning, go to class, and then we would have lunch at the hotel, and then we would get to go on our excursions or go exploring. And I did not regret that at all. I thought it was just so, like I said, just such an experience that you probably will never get. And I thought that the way it was set up prior to us leaving was well organized and executed. And so, no, I don't regret it at all.
Did you miss being away from UCLA just in case it was the other direction?
Yeah, that's a great point. No, I did not actually. Like I had mentioned, I took summer classes at UCLA my freshman year, so after my freshman year, and I was miserable, if I'm going to be honest. I was on campus my whole freshman year, really struggling with pre-med courses, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I thought I was going to be a doctor, And so when it came down to getting my foreign language requirement fulfilled, I had applied for the Spanish speaking program, or the Spanish language program. And I was so, it just gave me a new perspective on like education and like what I wanted out of my education. And yeah, no, I don't regret it at all.
Did studying abroad delay your graduation at all, Montana?
It did not. No, my first program in Spain was for my foreign language, so that applied toward my graduation requirements. My second program, I actually went more for the experience, if I'm being honest. I really wanted to pursue a career in student affairs and higher education, and so I wanted the experience working with UCEAP because somewhere down the line, maybe I'd want to do that again. And so I more went just to say that I've been on a UCEAP program. I also really just wanted to take courses in Asia. I was really excited about going to somewhere or going to a country that I had never been or maybe would never go to again. I did end up getting one class to count for my major, but the other two classes were really just for the units and for graduation requirements. So even though the intention wasn't really going for anything academic related, I still got some credits and it ultimately helped me with graduation.
Great, thank you. Danielle, we have a question. I don't have my passport. Do I need it just to apply?
That's a really good point. So if you don't have your passport yet for travel study, you can apply with, you can register basically without it. So you would just select in the form, I do not currently have a passport. If you do not have one for either program you're interested in doing, I would definitely encourage you to do that. If you can, use the Thanksgiving holiday to try to work on it, put it in as soon as you possibly can, just because we can't predict how long it would take you to get it back. The normal process and timeline is completely delayed now. But for travel studies specifically, and most likely for many of the other options, you would be able to at least start the process. You will eventually have to provide the passport information to us, but it doesn't block you from beginning.
Great, thank you. Next question is, are there more programs in Latin America?
Yeah, there are certainly a lot more options. From travel study side, we have a program in Argentina that's a summer travel study that does a lot of community service, community learning, and is also upper division Spanish. There's a program for global health to Peru through travel study. There's going to actually be a virtual program this year that will be connected with partners in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. It's a theater option. So that one, if you're not able to travel, you can still be connected to Latin America and learn about dance and theater of the oppressed that way. UCEAP has programs in many, many different countries. So they have options in the same countries that we have and probably more as well. So I would definitely recommend you check out the website, but there are lots of opportunities in Latin America.
Thank you, Danielle. Next question is for Montana. You kind of mentioned it, but if you can reiterate, please, how did studying abroad help you with your career/grad school?
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite things to talk about. Like I said, I mean, it introduced me to the world of higher education and student affairs. So I'm doing my master's at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I'm doing it in higher education counseling and student affairs. I got the opportunity last January to get onboarded onto a brand new department on campus. And one of the pieces of feedback I actually got was that my study abroad experience on my resume was just so outstanding and so unique. And that made me feel great because study abroad obviously holds a really special place in my heart. But it made me become more of an advocate to advocate for international education because I think it's a great experience and it shows so many transferable skills that not a lot of people often recognize up front when they study abroad. They think they go for academic purposes, but really you gain so many other skills studying abroad, and it's really just how you market it. So I would encourage you, if you are studying abroad and you want to put this on your resume, talk about the skills that you have for navigating conflict. So much conflict can arise when studying abroad, just internal conflict with other people, and just how to mediate that and navigate that. Becoming independent and self-sufficient, I think those are also great skills and very transferable skills for the workforce. So really, when you're thinking about studying abroad, really think about the holistic, all of the components that are involved, and not just that you're going abroad for, coursework, but that you're going abroad to grow as an individual as well. And so I keep that on my resume. I'm very proud of it. And, that piece of feedback really stuck with me. And so, yeah, I would encourage you to go abroad.
Thank you, Montana. Our last question here is, can I do more than one program in one summer?
Yeah, so that's a good question. If you're able to do both programs, then like your travel study, we would allow you to register in two as long as the dates don't overlap. So you need to make sure you're giving yourself enough time if it's two different countries that you can travel in between the two. And for next summer, you also would want to think about, just for COVID-19 reasons, any special considerations with the two countries you're thinking about. If there's testing or quarantine period in between, you would want to account for that. Otherwise, if the dates don't overlap, or you're thinking in the future, maybe when COVID-19 is not an issue with it, yeah, you can definitely do more than one. It's possible to do a UCEAP and a travel study. You can do two travel study. It just depends on the timeline and the planning process for it. The one thing to note, if you do multiple, you're only really eligible to receive financial aid for one program. So whichever is the higher, that's the one that your financial aid would go towards. I'm going to leave this newsletter screen up as well. If you want to sign up for more information about travel study or study abroad, we'll send out communications regularly, but we try not to spam you. So it's useful updates. There's the QR code, or I have the bit.ly link below for you to sign up. Are there any other questions?
Yes, I believe we're going to mention it here at the end, but the next question is, can I talk to an advisor about all these cool locations?
Good question. Yes. So there's a bunch of different ways to get in touch with us. Currently, since the office is working remotely, email is preferred, since we don't have any, actual live office hours, but we do have virtual advising available, and the link is here for that. And you can also find it through the Contact Us page of the UCLA Study Abroad Office IEO website. You can shoot us an email at our info box, which is listed here. If you want to talk about travel study, you can specifically ask for some advising on that. If you want to talk about UCEAP, the advising staff would be, happy to talk about all of your options. And if you want to just kind of follow along with us, we're on a bunch of different social media platforms as well.
Thank you. I think that's it for questions.
Okay, I think we're a little bit early here on time, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So if you had any final questions, you can submit those. Otherwise, I think that concludes the presentation.